everyone. I'd like to give a warm welcome to everybody out there. My name is Renee, and you're watching Renee's Health Corner. Believe it or not, God really does care about your health. In 2022, just about everywhere you look, sickness and disease are on the rise. In America, 4,000 times a day, someone has a heart attack. A new diabetic is discovered every 50 seconds, and 1 out of 4 people have cancer. That's 25% of the American population. There's also a rise in the number of other diseases like arthritic conditions, lung conditions, multiple sclerosis, gastrointestinal problems, IBS, and multiple sclerosis, and a host of other diseases. And the question is, why? Well, many people, they want to blame God. They say it's all God's fault. But is that really the case? Because in the Bible, in 3 John 2, it says, God wants us to prosper and to be in health. He doesn't want us sick, and He's not causing us sickness. So if God wants us to be in health and disease is more rampant now than ever, what's the problem? Well, as I shared on here earlier, there's different types of reasons why, people get sick because we're not obeying the laws of health. But today I'm going to share with you information on food combinations and what combinations are good, what combinations are not good, and how to properly prepare your food at each meal. So last week I talked about nutrition, which is the letter N from the acronym New Start, and we're going to be on nutrition for quite a while because there's quite a bit to cover. And I talked about canola oil the last time, and this time it's called, like I said, food combinations. And the Spirit of Prophecy says in Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 314, encourage the eating of fruit and vegetables and bread. Why? Because unto Adam, God said, because you have hearkened unto the voice of your wife, and have eaten of the tree which I commanded you, saying, thou shalt not eat of it, and the ground is cursed for thy sake, in sorrow you shall eat of it all the days of your life. And there's thorns and thistles that were brought forth. And then it says that thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread till thou hast returned to the ground, and out of it you were taken, and from dust thou art, and unto dust thou shalt return. Now, that's not exact words. I was paraphrasing it, but you can read that in Genesis 3, 17 through 19. But in Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 92, quote, a diet lacking in the proper elements of nutrition brings reproach upon upon the cause of health reform. We are mortal and must supply ourselves with food that will give proper sustenance to the body. Education, page 204, paragraph 3 says, grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables in proper combination contain all the elements of nutrition. Confrontation, page 10, paragraph 2 says, a benevolent creator has given them evidence of his goodness and love in providing them with fruits, vegetables, and grains, and in causing to grow out of the ground every variety of tree for usefulness and beauty. We're also told in Ministry of Healing, page 127, that disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the laws of health. In case of sickness, the cause should be ascertained, unhealthful conditions should be changed, and wrong habits corrected. Then nature is to be assisted in her effort to expel impurities and to reestablish right conditions in the system. CD 113, paragraph 4 says the richness of food and complicated mixtures are health destroying. Again, Healthful Living, page 63, paragraph 4 says, rich and complicated mixtures of food are health destroying. Highly seasoned meats and rich pastry are wearing out the digestive organs of children. And then when I teach health, I teach from 3 different perspectives. The Bible, which you can find in Isaiah 8:20 and Matthew 4:4, Spirit of Prophecy based on Isaiah 20 again, Revelation 12:17 and 19:10, and good scientific information. As a people, we are to speak the same things. Jesus designed that the faith of his people should be one. One person shouldn't be teaching this, and then the next health person comes along and says something else, and then somebody else comes along and says something else. We need to be united, and everybody needs to be on the same page. And the way to do that is to read our health books, not go listen to some of these health gurus and some of these other health people that aren't even of our faith and have no clue about the health message. We have to do what God said to do and read the books that he gave us through the prophet he gave us, Sister White. So Jesus designed the faith of his people to be one. If one goes forth preaching one thing and another different preaching something else, how can those who believe through their word be one? We can't, right? And you can find that in 1 Thessalonians page 326. There's going to be difference of sentiments. Ministry of Healing 128 says, too little attention is generally given to the preservation of health. It is far better to prevent disease than to know how to treat it when it is contracted. And that is so true. It's really a lot of work to get rid of a sickness or a disease, but you don't realize it's coming when you're not doing proper eating and obeying the laws of health. You're slowly breaking your body down, and then when sickness comes, it takes a lot of work to get over it if you want to do it naturally and God's way. And then we're told in Early Writings, page 67, ye must step fast. Some of us have had time to get the truth and to advance step by step. And every step we have taken has given us strength to the next. But now time is almost finished, and what we have been years learning, they will have to learn in a few months. They will also have much to unlearn and much to learn again. And that is so true, because there was many things years ago that I thought was healthy and I thought I was doing right, when later on, after more studying, I found out, oh, can't do that, got to get rid of that, and changed everything that I learned was wrong, because I want to do it God's way. Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 406, says education should be given on proper diet. And that's my goal doing these videos, is to educate you on proper diet and the way that God tells us to in our books. Now, page 127 of Ministry of Healing says pure air, sunlight, abstemiousness, rest, exercise, proper diet, the use of water, trust in divine power. These are the true remedies. Every person should have a knowledge of nature's remedial agencies and how to apply them. It is essential both to understand principles involved in the treatment of the sick and to have a practical training that will enable one rightly to use this knowledge. We are to apply the laws of life and health to our own case. And when we violate the laws of health, we misrepresent our Maker. And that's found in KC, page 20, paragraph 4. Now we're going to get into improper food combinations. A couple quotes on that is HL 166, the less that condiments and desserts are placed upon our tables, the better it will be for all who partake of the food. All mixed and complicated foods are injurious to the health of human beings, and dumb animals would never eat such a mixture as is often placed in the human stomach. Rich and complicated mixtures of food are health destroying. The less condiments and desserts are placed on our tables, the better it will be for the partaking of the food. All mixed and complicated foods are injurious to the health of human beings. There that is again. And the amount of cooking done is not at all necessary. Neither should there be any poverty-stricken diet, either in quality or quantity, but the richness of the food and complicated mixtures are destroying. It is much easier to create an unnatural appetite than to correct and reform the taste after it has become second nature. Combination of food quotes. CD 109, paragraph 4. Knowledge in regard to proper food combinations is of great worth, and it is to be received as wisdom from God. Do not have too great a variety at a meal. 3 or 4 dishes are plenty. You know how you go to potluck sometimes, fellowship meal, and there's 40 different dishes on the table, and some people think they have to try them all. No, there's different dishes because different people have different taste buds, and you should pick 3 or 4 dishes and that's it, and stick to it. Many times I hear people say how they come home from fellowship meal or where, I got indigestion, I don't feel good, my stomach hurts. Well, it's because they ate too many combinations. Now, 3 or 4 dishes are plenty, we're told. At the next meal, then you can have a change. Eat something else if you like, And then we're told the cook should tax her inventive powers to vary the dishes she prepares for the table. And the stomach should not be compelled to take the same kind of food meal after meal. So don't eat the same thing every day for months and months or weeks and weeks. It's okay to have the same meal a couple of days in a row or so. That's not what it's talking about, but it's talking about the same thing over and over and over all the time. Now, CD 110 says it would be much better to eat only 2 or 3 different kinds of food at a meal than to load the stomach with many varieties. So I'm going to explain this. 3 or 4 dishes, 2 to 3 kinds. So in other words, 3 or 4 dishes. Let's say we have lentils and potatoes, carrots and broccoli. That's 4 dishes, but that's only 3 kinds because lentils is a protein, potatoes is a vegetable, and broccoli and carrots are a vegetable. So that's vegetable and a protein. That's only 2 kinds. And then let's say you have some bread with that, some nice homemade bread. That would be a grain. So that's 3 kinds, even though it's 4 different dishes. So anyway, that's kind of what that means. It doesn't mean that you just have hardly anything to eat, but you watch your combinations. You don't want to have potatoes and carrots and broccoli and asparagus and peas and corn and lentils and beans and tofu and salad and bread and all this stuff at the same meal. That's too much for the stomach. It's not going to handle it properly and you're going to get indigestion. Now, maybe not everybody will, but still doesn't mean you should do it. We're told in CD 112 there should be a great variety at any one meal, for this encourages overeating and causes indigestion. Sedentary workers, we're told, CD 110, disturbance is created by improper combinations of food. Fermentation sets in, and that's not good. The blood is contaminated and the brain is confused. CD 110, paragraph 7 says the habit of overeating or of eating too many kinds of food at one meal frequently causes dyspepsia. Serious injury is thus done to the delicate digestive organs. In vain, the stomach protests and appeals to the brain to reason from cause to effect. The excessive amount of food eaten or the improper combination does its injurious work. In vain, do disagreeable premonitions give warning. Suffering is a consequence, and disease takes the place of health. Now, we're going to talk about fruits and vegetables are not to be eaten at the same meal. CD 112 says it is not well to eat fruits and vegetables at the same meal. It is better to have the fruit at one meal and the vegetables at another. CD 112 paragraph 6 says fruit and vegetables taken at one meal produce acidity of the stomach. Then impurity of the blood results and the mind is not clear because the digestion is imperfect. You should understand that every organ of the body is to be treated with respect. In the matter of diet, you must reason from cause to effect. See Isaiah 1:1 too. Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 112, said it is not well to eat fruits and vegetables at the same meal. If the digestion is feeble, the use of both often causes distress and inability to put forth mental effort. It is better to have the fruit at one meal and vegetables at another. Now, I want to explain this. Quote, if the digestion is feeble. Many use this to say it's okay to mix them because if my digestion isn't feeble, then I can do it. But that's not what it's saying. It means especially if your digestion is feeble, not just if it causes that. So in other words, don't do it. And if your digestion is feeble, it's going to be worse yet. You're weakening the vitality of the stomach and producing acidity, whether you realize it or not. But it doesn't mean things are not happening inside your stomach. So don't create a situation for yourself. Now, many people have tomatoes with their salad. Is that okay? We're told in Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 394, have fruit at one meal and vegetables at the next. And then Sister White says in Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 324, I have vermicelli tomato soup at one meal and greens at the next. So you see here, she's separating her tomatoes from her greens. She's not mixing her fruits and vegetables. And this quote proves it. Now, there are exceptions to the rule of mixing fruits and vegetables. There's 2 things we're told that we can eat with vegetables, and that is olives and lemon juice. And here's the quote. Councils on Diet and Foods, page 324 says, lemon juice may be used on vegetables. So there's our permission from God. My thistle greens are nicely cooked and seasoned with sterilized cream and lemon juice are very appetizing. Then CD 349 says, olives may be eaten at all meals. Olives may be so prepared as to be eaten with good results at every meal. So there's something different in those 2 foods that makes it acceptable to mix with vegetables. Now we're going to talk about vegetables. What is a vegetable? Well, it's a plant or part of a plant used as food, such as cabbage, potato, carrots, broccoli, something that grows directly out of the ground and doesn't have a seed inside of itself. And it grows straight out of the ground. If it grows that way, it's called a vegetable. Vegetables are full of antioxidants, dietary fiber, nutrients such as potassium, magnesium, vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin K, and others. They're full of phytochemicals, they're low in calories and low in fat. Vegetables do not contain cholesterol. And eating vegetables help protect against cancer, cataracts, constipation, type 1 and 2 diabetes, diverticulosis, dry skin and other skin issues, heart attacks, heart disease, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, inflammation, joint problems, kidney stones, macular degeneration, memory loss, obesity, overeating, PMS symptoms, skin damage from the sun, sleep problems, stroke, and much, much more. And even people who have IBS, especially them, they should not be eating raw vegetables. And we're told anyway, vegetables should be cooked until they are perfectly tender, but not overdone. Many cooks spoil their vegetables by cooking them too long, while quite as many more serve them in an underdone state to preserve their form. Either way makes them less palatable and likely to be indigestible. We're told in Education, page 204, in the study of hygiene, students should be taught the nutrient value of different foods, the effect of a concentrated and stimulating diet. Also, of foods deficient in the elements of nutrition should be made plain. Tea and coffee, fine flour bread, pickles, coarse vegetables, candies, condiments, pastries fail of supplying proper nutriment. Many a student has broken down as a result of using such foods. So raw vegetables steal iodine from your body and the enzymes are not released for proper mineral absorption. Now people say, oh, if you cook your vegetables, you kill all of that. No, you do not. If you cook them properly, the way we're told, it preserves it all. And now we are to prepare our vegetables without spices too, and animal fat. The health reform would be a great benefit to you both if you would strictly carry it out. Relish a plain, simple diet composed of unbolted wheat flour, vegetables, and fruits prepared without spices or grease. CD, page 123, paragraph 4. Now, we're told in paragraph 4 the same thing. Because you do not relish a plain, simple diet composed of unbolted wheat flour, vegetables, and fruits prepared without spices or grease, you are continually transgressing the laws which God has established in your system. So in other words, it's a sin. Vegetables are not to be eaten with a third meal. Many people have 3 meals a day. We're not to eat vegetables at that third meal. We're told in CD 178, paragraph 4, let the students have their third meal prepared without vegetables, but with simple, wholesome food, such as fruit and bread. So grain and fruit for the third meal if you're eating a third meal. But again, 2 meals are best. But not everybody can do that, so it's not wrong to have that third meal. Just make sure you eat it the way you're supposed to. Now, we're supposed to eat our fruits and vegetables without decay. CD 309 says vegetables and fruits in their season will be beneficial if they are of the very best quality, not showing the slightest sign of decay, but are sound and unaffected by any disease or decay. More die by eating fruit and decayed vegetables which ferment in your stomach and result in blood poisoning. Wow, that's amazing. Now, berries especially need to be eaten quickly because they go bad fast. So you don't want to be eating any food that's spoiled. You can get food poisoning and it can even cost you your life, it said. And nobody's going to know what caused it because they're ignorant to that. Examine your food, and if you see like a worm in a broccoli or in your apple or something like that, throw it out because you could get worms too. You don't know where it's been. Now, who chose our diet anyway? We're told in CD 310, grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables constitute the diet chosen for us by our Creator. So God chose our diet. These foods prepared in as simple a manner as possible are the most healthful and nourishing. They impart a strength, a power of endurance, and a vigor of intellect that are not afforded by a more complex and stimulating diet. CD 313, the grains with fruits and nuts, vegetables, contain all the nutritive properties necessary to make good blood. With such bread and the abundant fruits, vegetables, and grains with which our country abounds, no greater luxury should be desired. That's Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 320. And page 322, the Lord intends to bring his people back to live upon simple fruits, vegetables, and grains. So do you think it's important to grow our own food? CD 312 says all should be acquainted with the special value of fruits and vegetables fresh from the orchard and garden. Page 323 says many do not see the importance of having land to cultivate and of raising fruit and vegetables, that their tables may be supplied with these things. I'm instructed to say to every family and every church, God will bless you when you work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. Now, a person can have weakness due to not eating vegetables. Many people say, oh, you don't need to eat vegetables. Yes, we do. God gave us those after sin, and they are very important for us. CD 397, paragraph 4 says, when flesh is discarded, its place should be supplied with a variety of grains, nuts, vegetables, and fruits that will both be nourishing and appetizing. This is especially necessary in the case of those who are weak or who are taxed with continuous labor. CD 399 says, some fall into the error that because they discard meat, they have no need to supply its place with the best fruits and vegetables prepared in their most natural state from grease and spices. CD 322 says, hardy men must have plenty of vegetables, fruits, and grains. And we're told on page 309 of CD, provide an abundance of good, wholesome food. Do not practice economy in this direction. If you have to cut back on something, don't cut back on your diet because you need good food. Restrict your meat bills, but have plenty of good fruit and vegetables. It will make blood and muscle and give strength for daily duties. Page 410 CD. It is a variety of mixture of meat, vegetables, fruits, wines, tea, coffee, sweet cakes, and rich pie that ruin the stomach. She's not saying fruits and vegetables ruin the stomach, but this mixture of all this stuff together, too much in the stomach at one time. And it places human beings in a position where they become invalids. MM 267 says the light God has given will continue, and he will continue to give on the food question, is to be to his people today what the manna was to the children of Israel. Okay, now what is a fruit? We talked about a vegetable and what those are. Now we're going to talk about fruit. In Genesis 1:29, we're told, and God said, behold, I give you every herb-bearing seed which is upon the face of the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed to you, it shall be for meat. Webster's 1828 dictionary, which is the one that Sister White used back in her day, says the produce of a tree or other plant, the last production for the propagation or multiplication of its kind, the seed of plants or the part that contains the seeds, as apples, quinces, pears, cherries, acorns, melons, etc. So anything that grows on a tree, vine, or bush is a fruit, and if the seed is in the inside or on the outside, like a strawberry, it is a fruit. So tomatoes are a fruit, cucumbers are a fruit, bell peppers are a fruit, avocados are a fruit, squash is a fruit, zucchini is a fruit, eggplant is a fruit. All those things that people call vegetables, they are not, they are fruits. Pumpkin, too, is another one. Now, what is a tree according to Noah's 1828 dictionary? Something resembling a tree consisting of a stem or stalk and branches. This would include a standard tree, a bush, and a vine. Remember, Jesus referred to that in John 15, 1 through 5. Not all fruits are sweet. Like I just mentioned, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, squash, zucchini, etc. Those are savory fruits. The spirit of prophecy encourages the eating of fruit and vegetables in CD page 314. And page 309 says it would be well for us to do less cooking and to eat more fruit in its natural state. Now, you cannot eat pumpkin and squash in their natural state. Well, zucchini squash you can, but like the other acorn squash and butternut squash, those have to be cooked. Council's or Child Guidance, page 380 says, fruits, grains, and vegetables prepared in a simple way, free from spices and grease of all kinds. There's that same thing we heard earlier, is the most healthful diet. Now here I'm going to list some more fruits. I've listed some already that people call fruits that aren't, but now I'm going to list quite a bit of fruits here. Some are sweet, some are not. Apples, avocado, bananas, bell peppers, all berries, cantaloupes, cassava, cherries, cucumber, dates, eggplants, figs, grapefruit, grapes, honeydew, kiwi, lemons, limes, mangoes, olives, oranges, papaya, peaches, pears, persimmons, pineapple, plantains, pomegranates, pumpkins, squash, strawberries, tangerines, tomatoes, watermelon, and much, much more. Now, is there any benefit to eating fruit? Oh, yes, there is. It balances the fluid in the body. It helps the skin stay younger. It's high in antioxidants and electrolytes. It lowers your blood pressure. It gives you more energy. Gives a potential for weight control, to lower your cholesterol, to slow down your aging process, reduce the risk of cardiovascular diseases, of developing cancer, reduces that risk, and also of developing type 2 diabetes, and much more. So how many servings of fruit should one have every day? Well, we should have a minimum of 3 to 5 fruits a day. So like if you're eating 3 meals, you can get in the 5, but if you're having 2 meals, 3 is plenty. 3 for your breakfast and 2 for your third meal if you're having a third meal. And you should have something different, like you shouldn't have 3 bananas for breakfast. Have an orange and an apple and some grapes maybe, or a banana, some strawberries and mango, something like that. Have 3 different types of fruit that you eat with your grain, and either have your nuts or your seeds. Now, we are to eat largely of fruit and vegetables, 2T63. It doesn't mean pig out or overeat. It just means that should be the majority of your diet. Now, here's some more information on fruit. Apples are superior to any fruit for a standby that grows. Isn't that amazing? Apples are superior, God says. CD, page 312. The best food for desserts is fruit, CD 333. Do not eat between meals, GW 230. Don't eat decayed fruit, CD 309. Dried fruit is recommended. Nothing wrong with eating dried fruit, MH 299. Dyspeptics should avoid too many kinds at one meal, 2T 373. Eat in as natural condition as possible, 2T 352. Educate yourself to use, CD 322. Fruits are a cleanser of the body, which is something science says, but it makes sense and it's in line with what God says. Fruits are good for the third meal with bread, CD 178. Fruits are needed for good blood, MM 277. Fruits are part of the diet chosen by God for man, EV 663. Fruits should be prepared without grease, 2T67. Prepared without spices. That includes apple pumpkin pies with cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice. Those are all irritating spices and should not be used. Fruits that are ripe and undecayed are beneficial, CD 437, and fruits within the reach of all for everyday use, Ministry of Healing, page 297. So this is what's something good to know. The majority of living beings synthesize their own vitamin C. Only a few, including humans, must take it in with their food. The human body's overwhelming need for vitamin C can only be naturally met by eating fresh fruit. Although some vegetables contain vitamin C, the primary source is fruit. Fruit and veggies are a primary source of phytochemicals and antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. Sources for vitamin A are dark green, orange or yellow vegetables, and vitamin C. The highest is red bell peppers. Most people think it's oranges, but there's more vitamin C in a red bell pepper than in an orange. And those are highly recommended. Never eat your fruits and vegetables at the same meal, like I said earlier, because they produce acidity of the stomach and impurity of the blood results, and your mind isn't clear, remember? And then your digestion isn't perfect if your mind isn't clear. So your blood is made impure, you have fermentation, you don't have good digestion, you have stomach problems, your brain gets confused. Those are all reasons why not to mix them. Even if you don't notice these things, again, that doesn't mean you can do it because it's still happening. If you don't have stomach issues, doesn't mean anything. It's not God's plan. God's plan is prevention. So there's going to be some links below that you can learn more about fruit. And that's our time for today. I hope that what you've heard on here is a blessing to you and your family. And until next time, may the good Lord bless and keep you throughout the rest of the week and next week. And remember, God loves you and He wants you to be in health. So eat that which is good in proper combination. God bless. Bye-bye.